All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another short yap sesh because AC is still out. Found out my battery is no good, so maybe that'll fix it. Probably not. We'll see how that goes. So, why are you still on? Okay, that's just going to be on, I guess. What do we want to talk about today? What do we want to yap about? Let's see. I need to start. I come up with random things, like as I'm going through the week. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I could yap about that for, 10, 20 minutes or whatever. And then I forget it. The time comes to record and I forget what I wanted to yap about. So I don't really know what I want to yap about. I guess, you know what? I have been I've been listening to a lot of videos at work lately about consumerism and capitalism and all kinds of stuff like that. And I think it's interesting. I feel like the kind of hyper consumerism that us Americans are obsessed with these days is really I feel like it is a byproduct of lack of a feeling of community, I guess I would say. Because fundamentally, right, what happens when these consumerist trends pop off is I think people buy into them so hard because, well, first of all, online communities have kind of largely replaced in-person communities, right? And there's nothing wrong with that fundamentally. However, I think what a lot of people would consider to be their community, even if they don't consciously consider it to be their community, maybe they just subconsciously do, is not really a community that you're really a part of, right? And what do I mean by that, right? So like I have a bunch of buddies that I play video games with online, right? That is like one of the communities that I am in, right? That is a social group that I am a part of, right? And, we hang out and we chat and I know stuff about them and they know stuff about me. And that is, being part of a community, right? But then you have what I think most people, again, maybe even just subconsciously believe to be a community, which is like social media, right? So they are on TikTok every day and they watch their favorite creators and they see all of these people on TikTok that are going out and, purchasing these items or, participating in whatever fancy trend is kind of going on. And they feel like, well, this is my community, right? This is my community and therefore I need to participate in order to, not show solidarity, but like in order to be part of the group, you know what I mean? In order to be part of the group that I consider myself to be a part of, I have to participate in this trend. But I think there's a disconnection here because you're not a part of that group. Even if you, upload a video to TikTok about the newest thing you bought, you're not a part of that group because it's not really a group to begin with, right? The community that is like fundamental to the human experience, where you have, friends that you can confide in and that you can vent to, and, they know stuff about you. They know who you are, like, as a person, not to say that they know everything, obviously, but they know who you are as a person. And I feel like that's being, or has been rather, replaced by the very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, surface level community, quote unquote, that social media provides, which is nobody knows anything about anybody else other than, what hot takes get posted, or, what trends they're participating in, or, whatever may be the case. But that's not really a community at all. It kind of, on, again, the surface level, it might provide you with that same sense of community, but I really don't think it is a community, because you don't know these people, and these people don't know you. And the only way that you can even treat people that just happen across your shit on social media as your social group, your community, is if you publicly overshare, which is not a good thing, because the public should never know about, who you are, what's going on in your life. That's not exactly a good or healthy thing to do. And I think that's what happens to a lot of these influencers as well, is they get too wrapped up in, whatever, community they've built as an influencer. They're the king on top of the mountain, but they feel like all their subjects are their friends, and they're not. You're making entertainment, just like the fucking, the CEO of, fucking Nickelodeon is not a friend with all the people that watch the show, right? It's a business. Now, it is slightly more personable than that, obviously, because you're a person and not a corporation. But fundamentally, these people are not your friends, right? And so they overshare with their audience, and then they get into a lot of trouble. Because also, the more you overshare, the more parasocial that people get. But anyway, I'm getting off track now. I think fundamentally, the over-consumerism thing really is just I'm trying to fit in with this online community that does not know about me and does not care about me. And, the only thing that I know about this, a kind of ephemeral group of people on social media that I consider to be my community is that they're all like buying this thing, or they're all doing this dance, or they're all, whatever may be the case. And it's an attempt to grow closer with those people without actually, knowing who they are or what's going on in their life, and without telling them who you are and what's going on in your life. And I think, like with so many other things these days, it does kind of fill you with a sense of community, like a little bit, but it doesn't really give you that kind of deep, that kind of deeper feeling of love and being loved that actually having true friends gives you. You know what I mean? Like you are missing that because these are not actual people in your life, So, I mean, Americans have always been very consumerist mindseted, I guess, for lack of a better word. But I think that as time's gone on, and really the rise of social media, corporations have kind of figured out how to replace your real community with a fake one online. And that's not to say that all online communities are fake, right? Because I think that that's something that a lot of older people think, right? I remember when I first told my parents that, I had online buddies that I was hanging out with, and they were like, oh, but like, some of my online friends are some of the closest friends in my life. So that's not to say that just because you're talking with someone online, they can't be an actual, friend to you, and you can't find an actual community online. It's just to say that what I think most people are experiencing is the very shallow guise of a community presented to you by, social media algorithms and things of that nature. And they've specifically engineered it in order to give you this sense of community. Oh, these are all my friends and they're all doing this thing together. Instead of my friends asking me if, I want to have like a game night or something, oh, my friends are, buying this thing from this store. I have to go buy this thing from this store too. And I feel like that's on purpose, because, it makes them money. It makes the corporations money. That's very on purpose. And so, like, what can you do about it? You have to make sure that you have an actual community that you're a part of, right? You need, what do people like, a support structure? You know what I mean? The nameless, faceless people online who, make you feel good about yourself. These people are not your friends, They can be, but they are not, just because, they like some of the same stuff you do, or, they comment on your video or whatever. You need a real support structure, and that can take the form in so many different things, right? And some people don't need a support structure. Some people can live their life with, a very small group of individuals. Not everyone wants to be a part of some big community, right? And that's totally fine too. But there has to be something, right? For 99.9% of human beings, we're social creatures. There has to be some sort of community that you're a part of, that you can, derive some feeling of joy from. And you just can't get that from something like social media. You can't get that from, doing TikTok trends, doing some dance or buying something. It'll kind of give you a similar feeling for a very brief moment, but then, the post-nut clarity, if you will kick in, and you're sitting there having done this thing that, maybe it didn't make your life worse, but aside from that kind of immediate dopamine hit, it really didn't make your life any better, right? Whereas if you had spent that time actually, being in a community, it can really deepen your relationship with, other people that are actually in the community, and not just this, I think it's, I want to say the word facsimile. I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't know. It's a weird thing that we found ourselves in. It's kind of a perfect storm of, the rise of the internet and the increasing power of corporations. And I'm not like conspiracy pilled or anything. I don't think that it's on purpose. I don't think that, because there are some people that think that, oh, it's all a big play. They're trying to separate us. Like, no, I don't think it's a big play. I think that the internet and social media specifically kind of caused a problem, and now corporations are kind of like learning, or have learned, I guess. They've learned how to like kind of capitalize on that problem, right? Oh, well, we'll provide you with a sense of community since you've lost yours, right? So I don't think it's conspiratorial. I mean, I guess you could insert the Pirates of the Caribbean meme here, but I think it's just good business. You know, there's a hole in the market and they're trying to fill it. So that's what businesses do. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know how this Yap Sesh started, but I'm starting to sweat. So go be a part of something, you know? Go be a part of something. And it doesn't really matter too much what it is. Just have a community. It can be a in-person community. It can be an online community, but you need to be an actual part of it where people know your name, people know your face, people know, you know, what struggles you go through. And that's not to say trauma dump on the first fucking, you know, Discord that you join or anything, obviously, but there's a line, right? And it's all about finding that line. I mean, that's what life is. It's all about finding that line in every single way imaginable. So, but you need to find a community that you can actually be a part of and that you can lean on whenever life gets a little rough, essentially, right? So, just something I was thinking about lately. So anyway, I think one of the channels I've been watching a good bit lately, I believe is called Levi Hildebrandt, I want to say. They do a lot of videos. It's like the face and name of the channel is one guy, but it's actually 3 people. And they do videos on consumerist trends and stuff like that. If you want a video to start with, I would say their end of year ranking of trends was pretty funny. They basically tier list out the trends that had happened over the previous year, the consumerist trends like the Labubus and the Dubai chocolates and all that kind of stuff. So pretty good stuff. Highly recommend if you're interested in kind of the increasing consumerism in America, well, and Canada. You know, America's top hat. They're actually Canadian, but anyway, I'm sweating pretty decent now, so that's going to be it for today's Yap session. Y'all have a good one, I guess. See you next time.